Welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave, my dear Bullish, no bears today, and we have plenty to discuss as Bitcoin is testing the top side of the long-term time frame range, also busting out of the short-term time frame range, fulfilling our targets from yesterday. So what does that lead up into today? A lovely little Saturday. Well, that's what we're discussing, of course. And before we get into that, I would like to wish you a happy and healthy start to your nice little Saturday morning over here from a very overcast Helsinki, Finland. And with that said, let's get into it right here, right now, wasting no more time because I do want to make this rather quick, as my raspy lesbian voice is once again sprucing up its ugly head and still kind of recovering from whatever the hell I've had over the past few days. Anyways, it's all good. Don't worry about me. There's people out there with coronaviruses and whatnot, which, well, I'll just leave that one up to interpretation. And with that said, let's put the focus right now on the Krown Chain application, which we found at app.krownchain.net. And we see all sorts of things right now. Actually, not a whole hell of a lot of difference on the top side dashboard right here. We do see Bitcoin dominance still oscillating between the low 55% region and about 55.5 to 56%, of which this still plays into long-term continuation on Bitcoin altcoin Bitcoin parents. Yes, that's what I'm trying to say. But with Bitcoin busting out and threatening a bit of a breakout heading into our April 14th event, could that put a little bit of a damper on the short-term altcoin party? Probably yes, so we'll be checking on that one today. On top of that, we do see Fear and Greed Index stuck at a 70, which is rather interesting, as Bitcoin literally is actually maybe even right at the prior all-time high, right below $62,000. Yeah. Anyways, with that said, the market not getting overly optimistic, not getting overly greedy, more importantly, as Bitcoin does approach a major territory like this. On top of that, we do see that open interest has come up a little bit from yesterday to today, about 300 million to be exact. Not anything too crazy right there, but I would like to see open interest make a new all-time high alongside price action to further confirm, further verify this next sort of leg to the upside. On top of that, we do see top 10 best coins, top 10 worst coins, bunch of shit coins over here, a bunch of shit coins over there. Let's move on. No time for nonsense today. No, sorry. I know that there's some people out there making absolute fucking buttloads of unlimited monies with altcoins. Hey, more credit to you. But we got more important things to be talking about today. Anyways, yes, as far as this goes right here, do we actually have new all-time highs right here? We do see 61,377 was our prior all-time high. We got 361.01 is our current high of today, so just a little bit off as far as this chart goes. More importantly, though, we do see that the open interest is threatening a new all-time high right here. In fact, do we have it? I think oh yes, actually we do have it. Oh my god. Okay, so there we go. Another leading indicator right there. And yes, I would be looking at this breakout as very likely to not just test the top side of the short-term, medium-term, and long-term time frame range, but also actually head up towards those deeper $6,000 targets. What do we see as far as the funding rate goes? Okay, so yes, after seeing it come back down pretty much all the way to parity, as which we saw yesterday, pretty much, especially if you eliminate FTX from that equation, coming down all the way to about 0.01 across the board. Now lifting off is what I'm trying to say, as Bitcoin does essentially once again break out and continue with the trend, which has been your friend for the last 6 or 7 months now, and people still want to fade it. Until that actually does indeed happen, though, I will not be calling any major macro potential tops. As always, it is a game of patience here, and still the direction seems to be up. Anyways, yes, funding rate per exchange. Once again, this is like this is so frustrating here. FTX 0.458%. What the fuck, man? I've never even seen it that high on any exchange ever. In fact, this is literally the highest read that I've ever seen in my life that I can recall. Even when Bitcoin was at $20,000 in 2017 on BitMEX, I believe it was like 0.33, which was pretty fucking astronomical during that time. But when we go to the funding rate per exchange, it's really actually further verifying that this rally is real right here. We do see most major exchanges are actually below the 0.1% region, which I look at as a major threshold, with only FTX way the fuck above there. So this one drastically being the middle finger in the middle of this chart, which does suggest that if we just kind of eliminate that, I do still look at this as more or less a healthy continuation here, and you would expect the funding rate obviously to lift off with price action. The problem is that we don't want to see it get like too high, as that's going to imply that people are paying a lot of money to hold their long positions, which, people are happy to hold their long positions in a breakout. Obviously, when you're at new all-time highs or essentially in price discovery, that's typically going to be a good thing, very much welcomed. But I would still say that with FTX, I mean, who's holding a long position there? Seems like you're going to be paying an unnecessary arbitrary amount of fees for every funny rate period that you hold those positions on. But then again, you know, realistically, what are people doing? They're not holding long-term positions on fucking perps, paying out these funny rates. If they're smart, if they're savvy, and in the case, in the off chance that you don't already know this, if you do this on the futures contracts, then you actually don't pay any of the funny rates. You obviously, you know, will pay if you market into it, but you actually will get paid on a lot of those exchanges if you quite literally just put in a limit order. So quite a difference of you know, quite a difference of strategy right there. Of course, you do obviously pay the premium, but, you know, if you are bullish on this asset, or if you're just looking for a trade, you probably aren't as in tune with that or don't care as much. Anyways, back onto the dashboard, I do want to call out Mr. Jack and also Ken and Eric's programs, as they are all having a slew of big dates upcoming. Jack has his has his group coming up, I believe, at the end of this month, starting in May. Wait, is it April, May? Yeah, May 1st. There you go. So if you're interested in that, little bit of mentoring right there, he would be the guy to go to for that. And then of course, the Liquidity Zone has their traditional market newsletter, which they actually just uploaded a new update, I believe it was 2 days ago. So check that out, as their 10E terminal is actually turning out some pretty damn interesting stuff. So I'll leave it right there. Again, check them out on YouTube, as well as we did a couple interviews with them last week, and then a couple more actually with JE6, and of course Z Felds from the Trade Network. All really great guys. So if you're interested in such things, those are the guys who I can stand by. Anyways, moving on to our actual charts. Let's start off with the secondary charts today. Oh, what do you know? So we did get that signal between the bottom side green 55 troll underband, or sorry, Jesus fucking Christ, man, I am all over the place today. Apologies, I am a little bit in recovery mode from whatever the fuck I've had over the last few days. I'm gonna be fine, like no worries. But my brain's working a little bit slower. I do feel like, and you probably can already pick out that that the raspy lesbian is just not operating on all cylinders right now, when realistically I need to be, as this is one of the more fun times on Bitcoin. But then again, does it really take all that much skill to just fucking hold a long trade? Not really. Anyways, so yes, you know, the green 55 exponential moving average right here did cross above the bottom side troll band. That gave us the bias in early April on the 4th and 5th, with it, where this was confirmed that once again we would very likely test the top side troll band. We saw the same interplay over here on March 8th on this breakout from about 52 all the way to 62. We saw the same interplay over here in January, late January, that is, at about 29,000 all the way, or sorry, about 30,000 all the way up to, well, an ultimate price about 58,000, to be fair, before an actual reversal on the daily. And then the time before that, we saw it around 20,000 bucks in December 2020 before breaking out for basically a 2x all the way to 43 to 44,000 bucks right there. Pretty damn impressive. And then one other iteration way the fuck back on up here in several in 2019. Anyways, with that said, that is going to be accompanied by several other things of which we have been following. Most importantly, well, I wouldn't necessarily say that this is the most important one, but we did see the DMI Plus actually gain dominancy alongside a breakout. So you have directional momentum plus an actual breakage of structure. That's usually going to be good. And ADX is strengthening out as well. So very, very good right there. MACD also giving us a little bit of a bullish cross. By the way, that means that our TSI should precipitate that. Actually, this one operating pretty much in lockstep with it right now. But both of them going to be turning up at the same time. So you got momentum plus structure plus trend, and an actual structural breakout right here too, which is also going to be supported by even short-term momentum oscillators like Stokes, all on the daily, and Trollinger bands, of which had been collapsing on each other ever since, well, especially since late March to early April, now starting to actually expand as well. So is this one ready to actually move? I do think it's incredibly close. I do think that Bitcoin very well could actually break up before the 14th of April date, which is the Coinbase direct listing. And I do want to say that as far as the Coinbase direct listing goes, you know, I'd refer back to yesterday's video, because that is, well, we spent like, I don't know, five or so minutes kind of going over it, and I don't really have anything new to say about it. But overall, if things are as they are right now, with like a day or two leading up to that into that event, I would look for that to be a bit of a continuation drive as well. Anyways, as far as volume signature goes, right here we are very mature within this general formation. I would say still that this one is lining up with a breakout next week. As far as the macro goes, I mean, you might even say that right now. Of course, with CMEs not trading over the weekend, I am a little bit more what's it called? Skeptical about that. Here we go. This is actually a better one. Coinbase itself is going to actually show. Actually, I mean, we do get about 75% full pretty much right here. So anytime between now and the 14th, I'm looking for a move. In fact, we might even be seeing it right now as we do see the Trollinger band start to expand a bit, a volatility-based indicator. So that is going to be also accompanied by our just a regular HVP over here. And actually, that is not starting to expand right now on the daily. On the lower term timeframes, I imagine it is definitely definitely, yes, we do see the 4 hours starting to expand from a single digit read. 3 hours going to be doing the same thing. Bi-hourly is going to be doing the same thing, and hourly all going to be doing the same thing. So we do see all the lower term timeframes kind of leading into the higher term timeframes, but we don't necessarily see the daily expanding just yet. And the Troll bands are actually looking like they're just in their infancy of expanding right here as they kind of open up. Again, another supporting factor in a potential continuation drive here for our further upside targets, of which I would still remain with the same ones here. We got the 3-spot extension, which is going to be about 62,500. That's only irrelevant for short term though. I'm not going to be looking for like a reversal here on a medium or higher term time frame. Do you think that we see a little bit of a short term pushback? Yeah, probably yes. I mean, this fib extension has been working incredibly well ever since our base in early to late January, that is, as you do see the 1-spot 414 getting this low right here, the 2-spot getting this low right here, the 272 getting this nice horizontal, of course the 2618 getting our current high on this formation, and the 3-spot getting the spike high over the weekend on your weekend high essentially. Anyways, more importantly, I still do look at this as having a measure move all the way up to the 3-spot 618 Fibonacci extension right here, right around $69,000 with areas of interest along the way. Again, at about 62.5 we'll call it, and then I'd be looking for price action to kind of play around within the upper $60,000 region between about 69 and 67 for a little bit of time before kind of resolving itself for potentially another leg on top of that, or potentially reversal. But at least for now, I do err on the side of the trend, and the trend is very much your friend, and the trend is very much bullish right here. Anyways, is there anything else that I want to be speaking about on the secondary charts? We got our 2-day, our bi-daily, as you might say, printing a similar signal on the DMI ADX, but not quite there just yet. More importantly, 2-day Stokes are playing out that same trend line that we identified from days ago, right around here. I guess that's also relevant for the 3-day, but more importantly, in the bullish control zone and up, going to be typically a good thing. Same thing on the 3-day, this one being a little more obvious right here, as you can see, and doing quite literally the same thing as well. And this is alongside just general structure. And the 3-day really has kind of been telling all. It's a 20 simple remains with that positive slope alongside a general uptrend, higher highs and higher lows along the whole fucking way. And we do see that the DMI ADX is actually giving us a bullish signal right here, right now, based off the same area that we've seen for the last few rallies. I'm talking about the one from late January. That was this rally right here from about 36 or 35 all the way to 57. I'm talking about this one right here from December, late December, that is, from $19,000 all the way to 41. Very similar ones to the other signals that we've been kind of calling out. This one over here from about 9,000 to 12,500. Wow, even more impressive. And this one over here from about 11,500 all the way to $20,000. So all of these things do point towards further continuation. I mean, obviously we do have big events coming in this week as well, and the general thing is, or I think what a lot of people are thinking right now is that it's going to be a buy the rumor, sell the news type thing. I don't think that that's fully baked in, mostly because there's something a lot more important on the horizon, and I would say that that would be a Bitcoin ETF. I do think that a Bitcoin ETF is very likely within the next year. Wouldn't be surprised if it was at the end of this year or maybe like early next year. Been saying this for a while now, and that's going to be the big one. Coinbase direct listing is obviously going to be a bit of a catalyst there. Yep, it is nice, and that is going to be a way for a lot of like the old school I wouldn't say traders, but investors kind of play like the gold rush scenario, essentially, where you're selling the shovels rather than trying to find the gold. And that's typically the way that those sort of old timers think, with like gold, like literal actual gold investors playing both the miners and also the underlying asset plus derivatives. So all of that sort of stuff does obviously matter, and while it's always going to be secondary to price action at the end of the day, unless you're a fucking insider yourself, which probably not. But maybe you are. I mean, who am I to say that you're not or that you are? But I'd imagine that if you are not, and I'm not an insider as well, then, well, the best way to be doing it is just looking at price action at the end of the day and making sense of the news stories afterwards. Because at the end of the day, man, there's no actual proper way to interpret news stories, in fact, because we don't even know how to interpret news to begin with. And, two different people can hear the same piece of news and have two completely different interpretations of it. So it's like, where do you even start with that? It's like the interpretation is wrong, the understanding of the interpretation is also wrong, and then the application of the interpretation can be completely variable. And is probably also going to be wrong, so it's one of those things. Like, intuitively people think that shit matters, but I can tell you as a trader, I don't think that there's a good way of doing it. I don't think that anyone has a good way of doing it, unless if you quite literally are moving the markets yourself, and at which point you're creating the narrative anyways. At the end of the day, the only thing that moves price action is buys and sells, not fucking news. News is just is neither here nor there. And so fair enough on that. Anyways, as far as our lower term timeframes go right here, what do you know? 4-hour RSI back into the bullish control zone, playing out that bullish divergence right there. Not bad. 4-hour TSI, what do you fucking know? Back into the bullish buy zone. Lovely. And while we do have a bit of a competing trend line right here, which could pause for a little bit of a short-term pullback, or I guess I already have it in there. I'd still look at any sort of price action, especially above like $60,000 as massively fucking bullish. How about that? Anyways, on top of that, what else do we see? We can go through the other lower term time frames, see if they're kind of on the same side. I mean, we see the same thing right here. 3-hour, bi-hourly is about the same chart, and hourly, all the same charts right now, basically. Even the hourly having some hidden bullish divergence off that last few lows right there. So quite nice. And so now that we have obviously hit our target from yesterday's short-term time frame analysis, which was based off both the short terms and the medium term timeframes, mostly bullish or hidden bullish divergence, plus momentum's turning up alongside the general uptrend in the short term timeframes. We did hit that target. I believe it was 59.5. Now, obviously, I'm recording this video, after the next sort of target would have been met. It would basically be the high structure, your prior high, about $62,000. And I would be looking for a little bit of a short-term pullback based upon this region. We can obviously move this point of failure up now a little bit further north, about 60,355 on BitMexico. Now, keep in mind, there is a pretty big premium on BitMexico versus other exchanges. I'm curious where the other ones would be. 60,200 for Stamp. What do we see on GDEX? 60,150. Yeah, basically the same. Very, very close, but small discrepancies there, which do garner some call out. Anyways, with that said, where was I going with that? Yes. Okay. So short term, I probably would be looking for a bit of a pullback here. If it wants to come back down and test that region, 60,300, we'll call it, or let's just call it $60,000 because it's easier to say. And bless you, sir. Then I would be looking at that as just essentially a little bit of a pullback, getting ready for the actual breakout, maybe later today, or maybe later this weekend or early in this coming week. I think a little bit more likely early in this coming week. I'm sure that someone out there is going to say, but Krown, CME is closed at 58,760. Sir, professional gaps. Learn it, love it, respect it. Anyways, back on over here, what I want to look at right now is again just structure. So on the on the low term timeframes, I'd be using this area right here to kind of manage off of. In this case, would I err on the side of conservativeness or aggressiveness? No, I think I err on the side of conservativeness because it is a trend, and so yes, I would move that down specifically to $60,000, meaning that as long as Bitcoin's closing, especially 2-hour and 4-hour deltas above there, I'm not even looking at this as like even short term bearish. We have we're playing with big numbers. Bitcoin can have $1,000 range and basically do nothing for me as far as structure goes. Now, if Bitcoin does break below $60,000, I would be looking for another run back down around that $58,000 region. Now we're talking about a $2,000 move. That is very much relevant. And then I want to kind of see how things operate right around there. But at the end of the day, I'm not really seeing too many things that are bearish about this price action coming in this next week of action. Most importantly with that, the areas for sort of maintaining or changing biases are more or less the same. And what we can do now, seeing as Bitcoin did confirm yet again another higher low on the daily, a little bit later this past week, I would be moving up the point of bias change, if you will, from about 51,500 a region, 51,500 that is, all the way up to our current higher low, which is about $56,000, meaning that I'm in no way, shape, or form bearish on medium or especially higher term timeframes, and not even within question on the macro, as long as Bitcoin is operating above $56,000. Again, all of this is coming within the context of what we've been speaking about on the long-term timeframes here, with the monthly specifically, as it does trend above the topside Toronto band for the 7th month in a row. I'm sure someone out there is going to say, but Krown, 7 months is too much. We've never seen Bitcoin do that. Well, actually, I have you right here because it's been fucking 9 months, huh? Anyways, more importantly with that, we have seen, I look at this as yet again another trend, and the trend is your friend until the end of the trend. I can't fucking stress this enough. It's more likely to continue until it doesn't. And believe me, everyone always wants to be the fucking genius who's trying to judge when it doesn't. That's how I went broke my first time. I tried to be the genius trying to short fucking spy the traditional markets in like 2015, 2016. Didn't work out so well, actually. Or sorry, no, it was more like 2013. I think 2013 or 2014. We'll have to go back to it. Anyways, whatever. Anyways, more importantly on this right here. I'm looking for the same interplay, and what we had last month is very much available this month as well. Remember, anytime that we've closed or we've seen Bitcoin close above the top side trailing band, it has pulled up the top side trailing band on the monthly to the bottom side of that month's low. And last month we opened up somewhere around like $45,000, and the topside Toronto band was trading around like $39,000 or $40,000 at the time. And that's what I was saying was, well, we can fulfill this one of two ways. Either Bitcoin comes all the way down to test that region, or Bitcoin gets so fucking green and girthy that it gets pulled up $45,000. Well, Bitcoin went with the green Hulk region right there, as you can see. And I suspect that we might be doing the same thing here as well, as the topside Toronto band is currently delta of about 52,600 with our current low of about 55,400. So what does that give you? About $3,000 right there between the two. It's going to take a little bit more for Bitcoin to it's going to take a little bit more upside for Bitcoin to actually fulfill that condition once again. So, running with that assumption, if Bitcoin does head up to the next major macro targets at $69,000, would that condition be fulfilled? Probably, yeah. Probably, yeah. Anyways, all the momentum oscillators on the monthly still very much good as well. Histogram increasing as far as momentum goes. Yeah, this is fucking insane, but respect it until it stops. DMI plus technically dominant but not strengthening, and ADX is strengthening, generally good. Monthly Stoke still up as well, although very much critical there. And of course, while I don't have it up right now, the accumulation distribution indicator was given the bullish bias for this month as well, as it did retain its positive slope. So all of that is further enhanced, of course, by the quarterly right here, and I'm not bearish on anything that looks like this. How about that? Of course, our bullishness yesterday was although further enhanced by looking at traditional markets, of which I still remain with all of my upside targets here. We've actually almost even hit our SPY target to the upside. In fact, 41.21.5 was our high yesterday. I've been saying 41.50 for a while now, but I actually don't think that that's where the ultimate high is going to be. I do think that it probably pushes back a little bit around there, meaning that a little bit of a short-term sell-off and probably plays out a bit of a range. Long term though, I'm still looking towards about 4250, maybe even around 4250, maybe even more than that over time. But that's the big one where I do start to think and do start to consider that, all right, this is these are pretty classic areas here. But as far as the weekly goes, that's continuation. There's nothing fucking bearish about that. Let's go to NASDAQ, even more correlated with Bitcoin, by the way. And what do you fucking know? Did we hit our target from the last couple of weeks back up to 13,800? Yeah, we did. We actually even closed above it. In fact, I think we even have new closing all-time highs. Yes, we do. Oh, so that means that this hidden bullish divergence right here, judging this higher low alongside the 21, is not just going to come at a retest of the prior all-time high, but very likely when you see a signature like this at your all-time high, probably going to make new all-time highs. And I still stick with my long-term targets. 3-spot extension, 14,300 or 14,250-ish region. And the major one's going to be $15,000. So I still stick with that. I imagine Dow Jones is going to be more or less same. And what do you fucking know? It is literally the same. So I don't see anything bearish about traditional markets as it is right now. Again, with all world markets mostly being correlated with each other, included Bitcoin. In fact, NASDAQ and Bitcoin are very, 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 very close to each other. I look at this as boding extremely well for the week, maybe even next month to come for Bitcoin. Anyways, with that said, what else do we want to check out right here? We've already been 23 minutes into this bitch. I don't think that there's too much more to say, and my voice is starting to falter a little bit right now, so it might be a good time to be resting. You know what? Yeah, I think what we're going to do, actually, let's quickly look at caretaker ranges right here. Yeah, he's suggesting a little bit of a short-term pullback from this region. We did just kind of hit a major area, so I wouldn't be surprised for Bitcoin to come back down to like 60,000 even short-term. But overall, don't mistake that, or at least I wouldn't mistake that with like a reversal, just a test in the extremely short-term time frame range, which doesn't mean all that much to the medium and higher-term time frame traders, of course. Anyways, as it stands right here, yeah, let's wrap this bitch up. How about that? All right, Bitcoin hitting our targets from yesterday's short-term analysis, right around 59,500. That is going to, once again, extend those targets to the top side trailing band here based off the 55 exponential and the bottom side trailing band play that we have identified multiple times in the past 6 months, getting this move right here, 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 all mega, major, massive rallies within the context of a general uptrend. You might even call this ascending triangle. In fact, I would imagine it still very much does work out as an ascending triangle, and I would still have a general target up to the 3.618 Fibonacci extension here at about just below $70,000 with an area of interest along the way at about $62,500 as we identified earlier within this video. Anyways, on top of that, this whole continuation signal is met with several other things. We do see daily Stokes pointing back up in the bullish control zone. Good. We do see daily MACD also having a hint to the of across the upside alongside a general continuation of structure. And we also do see the DMI Plus is starting to get dominant right here with the 8x strengthening, precipitating similar signals to what we saw back and over here, over here, over here, over here, which is all the same rallies that we just called out right here. So we see several points of confluence right there. Again, going back to our regular charts over here, we do see, well, let's skip the lower term time frames for now. Daily hidden bullish divergence confirmed yesterday and playing out right now, generally fucking good. We do see daily TSI already having a bit of a cross the upside. So again, we're seeing momentum turn up on all of our higher term time frames alongside a continuation of the uptrend, alongside a breakage of structure. And this is going to be further enhanced by the 2-day, which is doing the same thing. Hidden bullish divergence coming off of our current low right now, literally at the prior all-time high. TSI looking like it wants to turn up as well with any sort of a tick basically here higher on the next closure or two. 3-day, same shit, basically back into the bullish control zone on 3-day RSI. I think that this one really tells all. This is looking really good right here. And generally speaking, I am bullish coming into this next week or two of price action. Still looking for deeper 6,000 targets to get hit. If we go down to our low term timeframes right here, like we did say earlier, a little bit of a short term pullback based upon retesting the prior all-time high is very likely in order. I mean, we basically did just hit the 2-spot extension once again, as this is likely to play out a range between about $60,000 and $62,000, our current high of this rally, as we just came just shy of making a new all-time high. Yeah, about $200 shy on BitMexico from making a new all-time high. Any price action within this region right here means nothing to me. It's not that it means nothing to me. It's just it doesn't do anything for, you know, any time frame that matters for structure right now. But at the same time, if Bitcoin does break below $60,000, meaning like a 2-hour or 4-hour below that region, I would look for an extension, at least another $2,000, maybe even another $3,000 down to 57. Anywhere between about 57 and 58,000 is where I'd be looking towards. Do I think that that's what's happening here? No, I don't. Is that worth calling out? Because we need to have some sort of some sort of criteria for change around biases. Yes, absolutely. You know, this is a market of infinite possibilities, game statistics, and that's what I'd be looking at right here. But to put it quite bluntly, I will not be getting in any way, shape, or form medium, high term time frame, or of course macro bearish, as long as Bitcoin is above its last higher low, which we said I guess later this last week, about $56,000. As long as that condition is met, there's zero things that are bearish about this price action on the long term to myself. Of course, further verified once again by the monthly, of which we see the exact same interplay that we've seen for like the last 6 months straight, alongside momentum oscillators headed up north across the board. So I do think that Bitcoin very likely does get another drive to the upside right here after extremely short-term pullback. You know, does this happen over the weekend? Does this happen early next week? I'd say it's a lot more likely to happen early next week, but we do see HVP starting to expand on our lower term timeframes right here, albeit a little bit muted thus far. So here's your 3-hour also expanding as well, bi-hourly doing the same shit and hourly doing the same shit. I think the daily trailing band's actually getting this one a little bit better right now, as they're starting to expand a little bit right here as well, as Bitcoin tests the top side of the region. But generally speaking, I wouldn't necessarily put like a time frame on this. I don't really like weekend moves for the most part, but in the same direction as the general trend, completely fine. And we've seen that several times within the last 6 months, 7 months actually, as Bitcoin does, once again, continue the rally. Anyways, with that said, I think it's time for me to wish you the best once again. Take care and see you soon.